Models of Bilingualism Introduction. Now, in the modules that are coming up now, we look at the bilingualism in terms of the different models in which they have been presented and studied in the literature. So, what are these different models? We begin with the assumptions and we somehow try to understand that these different models that we are going to talk about emerge from the fact that bilingual communities across the world, even within a country, are different. They have different needs, they have different lifestyles, they have dissimilar aspirations to be where they want to be. There are also different cultural norms and traditions governing language use. The situations in which they need to use different languages might also differ. So there is no universal phenomena or that phenomenon that we can emphasize that this is it and this is why bilingualism happens and this is the main model of bilingualism. And that is why we have different models of bilingualism. Having said that, please always see that whatever is in your textbooks is a moment, or a frozen moment in a sea of change, because things gradually change and they will change even more when we move into the 21st century. In any case, until now, what the different types of models of bilingualism that we have are additive bilingualism. What does it mean to have? What does it mean? When does it happen? These are the things we will cover in the upcoming lectures. Then there is this model of subtractive bilingualism. And by the way, let me remind you, this is very much there in Pakistan. And then we have this model which we call dynamic bilingualism that somehow represents the change in bilingual languaging as such. And we also have recursive bilingualism. Bilingualism as it moves on to revive old languages. What does each model mean? This we will cover one by one in the coming modules. And we will also cover what it means to be a plurilingual and what is plurilingualism and how is it linked with other models. And then, of course, what we need to see is the complexity of bilingualism in the 21st century. So, as I emphasized earlier, so this is what we have now, but this is going to change. As the world changes, as the time changes, then our needs and our situations and the type of functions that the languages perform for us also change. So the nature and complexity of the bilingualism also changes. So it doesn't mean that what has been said before has been incorrect. It only means that it represented that partial reality of the time and explained it. And however, as the time moved on and the complexity in life increased, people began to realize that there were other aspects to bilingualism also. Now, the change that we are going to talk about later on in one of the modules has to be kept in mind as that it is unprecedented. It is unprecedented in terms of the pace at which it is happening. Look at the influx of migration, how much it has increased, not just because of conflict, not just because of businesses, because of this concept of transnationalism. That is, people are citizens of more than one country, and the greater need of the nations to come together to resolve problems of the world. Think about globalization. It occurs at not only micro level, but also at macro level, some people say that, well, globalization was very much there earlier also in the 17th century also, because people were moving from one place to the other. But the pace and the intensity at which people are now connected with other and affected by the political or socio-economic changes in one country are reflected in another country and at the level of individual lives is completely different now. And then, of course, this is all because of technology. Having said that, technology has also affected bilingualism by giving different choices of languages that can be used, or restricting certain linguistic choices that can be made to connect with people or to use certain apps. So it does somehow control us as well as facilitate bilingualism, depending on where it is used, for what functions it is used, and what are the situations we are talking about.